This week we are going to show you the boat-in campground at Lake Jocassee, which is across here all the way over there. We are at spot number 1, which is kind of near that little island right there, or the turtle head as we like to say. So we have all of our boats. We have 2 big boats and 2 kids boats. They're tied up to our boats, and we've got all of our stuff, and we're going to get going and we'll show you what's over there at Double Springs Campground, which is part of Devil's Fork State Park. So we'll see you in a minute. So calm and peaceful, heading across the lake to our campground. Tonight the water is really calm. We're about half a mile in right now. So we're gonna head over to the campground and we'll give you the tour and let you know everything you need to know. 1.4 miles and we made it to our campsite. I'm not gonna do that thing where you go put up your camera and then paddle to it and make it look like you're just arriving, because it's gonna get dark soon and we need to get our stuff up on the land. And as you can see, we have to climb right here. So it's not a very easy spot to get all of our stuff up there, but we'll park our boats right here and we'll call it a trip. So now I'm going to show you the campsite, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things that you need to know if you want to camp out here. We're out here with our family and 2 kids, so it's definitely doable, and we only used kayaks to get here. But let's go tour the campsite. Here is a tour of boat spot number 1. There is a tent pad, a huge tent pad. We've got a pretty big tent and it barely even covers a third of this tent pad. So they went all in to put a tent pad out here. There is a lantern pole and there is a hook on the top and the bottom, lantern, trash, different things you could put out here. Make sure you always put your trash away because there are bears. And my favorite thing is there's a picnic table now. For all the years we've been out here, there's not been picnic tables. And so I've always wrote and said picnic tables would be my biggest improvement out here, because you are spending a lot of money to be out here. And they do have signs about bears on the picnic table, which is smart. So there are bears out here. I have not seen any bears out here. I've seen more bears at the main campground, and the main campground has bear canisters now, but they don't have those out here. We just put our stuff in our boats during the night and we've never had a problem. And then we also cook down here away from our tent. And so as you see, this spot is huge. Sometimes the fire's down there, sometimes it's up there. We just leave it where it's at, where we find it. But as you can see, this spot is huge. You come down and it comes all the way down here to the water. It's probably the biggest spot on the campground. It's also the coolest because you're on this peninsula. And as you can see, you have the view over both sides of the lake. You have a fire right there. You can see the lake, everything over there, the swimming. You have the middle area right here. And you can see over there is the campground. We boated across from there last night, parked our boats right here, or 1 boat, and put our stuff up here. So if you look here, the boats are up on the rock. And you have to remember that the lake will go up and down. So when the lake goes up and down, the water levels will change. So right now there's water in this little cove right here, but I bet by this afternoon or tonight the water will be gone. So I'll try to get a clip to show that the water lowers. And it's raining, because it always rains in the afternoon. But as you can see, there is now a path right here between the 2 sides of water. So the water was going across, and it was maybe 6-8 inches deep right there this morning, and now the water isn't even touching. So as you can see, the water definitely drops during the day, and if they refill the lake at night, that will be full of water again. So as you can see, we have another beautiful morning, but this rock is barely visible. The water rose last night, and this area is definitely underwater now. So when the water levels raise at night, you really have to make sure your boats are locked in, because if these boats were not tied up like they are right now, they would have been out there this morning and I would be stuck out here. So this is a reminder that if you camp out in the boat-in area or at the main campground, make sure your boats are tied up, because when the water goes up, your boats will go away. So the things I would tell you when you're going to camp out here is that you do have to register at the office, which is real easy. So if you get here by 5, you just go in there, fill out the paperwork, and then find the boat ramp to get over here. The paperwork is just writing down who's going to be here and having a emergency contact. Nothing out of the ordinary. We came after 5 o'clock. I was able to call and do it over the phone. So when I got here about 7 o'clock, I was able just to go to the boat ramp. Then there's no line or anything. And I was able to fill up our kayaks. There was parking there for Boat-In Campground, so we parked there. We did put a little note on our car that said where we were at, like the office told us to. And if you are going to be here for your first time, I would definitely make sure you have plenty of light to get here. It's about 1.3 miles, took us about 50 minutes. It's not too bad of a kayak ride, especially on a Friday night because the lake is pretty calm and pretty empty. There was really nobody on the lake. But we've had some times where we come across and it maybe starts to rain. And we've also been out here and another guy came with some kids and they got here and it was dark and they had no idea where they were going, which was not the smartest move on their end. So if you're coming for the first time, make sure you leave plenty of light. Give yourself a couple hours to at least get across and set up before it's dark because it gets really dark out here. All the people have always been nice. I feel like if there's ever a real problem and we have kayaks, we could ask someone with a power boat on how to, like an emergency to get back. We have been out stuck in a rainstorm once and a guy pulled us back. And it was pretty funny. He's like, well, if you didn't have the kids, I probably wouldn't have helped you. We would have been fine. But with the kids, it was definitely helpful that the man helped us out. So those are just things that are helpful to know when you're going to be out here. You got to register. You use the boat ramp that's closest to the campground. There's actually signs now. They say Boat-In Campground parking. So it's real simple to find. Just a straight shot across the lake. And then when you're here, you can set up and you're going to have a blast. Now I'm going to talk about where to park your boat when you come camping at the Boat-In Campground. There's this little beach right here on the side of tent site 1, and then tent site 2 is right up there. So if you park on this beach, like we did with one of our boats, you have the easiest of beaches to park on. You can pull your boat completely out of the water, but then you have a little bit of a hill, and you're going to climb up here to bring all of your stuff. So it is fairly steep. There is a little handrail right here. Doesn't mean it'll be here every time, but it has been here for about a year. I'll show you the path, how to get to your campsite. So it's not too bad, and once you're up here, you just walk over and you're going to get to your site. And there's our tent right there. The other spot to park your boats is right here between the island and the campsite, but as you can see, it's a straight wall that goes up right here. So this is even harder to move your stuff up to the campsite. So you're closer to the campsite, but it is over the years just eroding more and more. So there is a little rope right here to climb up. So we did take some stuff and throw it up there, and then we'd have to climb up there and take it to where we want it to go. But as you can see, when you're here, you have this whole side basically to swim, very calm. And if you look on the other way, they're swimming over there. You have the whole side on this side to swim. So for swimming, this is like the best spot for swimming because you're right at your campsite and you have the amazing view just to hang out basically all day and chill in the water. View on the right side, just looking north. And we have had some major storms out here. I know in all these videos I talk about that it rains up here a lot. We are in a classified temperate rainforest because we get over 100 inches of rain a year. But the storms out here can be absolutely terrifying, to be honest. So it's really nice right now, and you just don't know if this afternoon it'll storm. We haven't had many times where it storms all day, but the pop-up storms will just come out, and we've seen lightning all across these mountains back here where it's just storming or like a wall of rain over there, which is pretty cool to see, but when it hits you, you're just covered in water. And sometimes the storms seem to just park on top of us. See, now the lake is really calm. It's 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. But in this area, you don't get too many people. They just kind of boat through and go back to the waterfalls, which are all back there quite a ways. It's definitely not as busy as if you're at the main campground. The main campground is going to be a lot busier than we are right here. It is very peaceful out here, but people always ask, does my phone work? And so out here, my cell phone does work, at least on spot number 1, and it works really, really well. It actually has 5G bars, so there must be a tower not too far. Every year that we come back, there seems to be more and more cell phone coverage. So I know some people try to get away from their phone, but in case you're curious, it does work. And it is helpful when there is storms coming, then you can check the weather, because the storms just pop out of nowhere, like they did yesterday. All right, now we're going to take you to the outhouse, because people always ask, what are the outhouses like out here? They're usually not too bad. I haven't been there yet today, so let's go check it out. So I'm just gonna talk about some of the things that you might need to know when you're booking out here. I booked this online 13 months ago, which isn't easy to plan ahead that far. I totally understand, but that's how they do it in the South Carolina state parks. So if you have spots that you really want, like this one, you just have to book it so far in advance. I know not everybody's a fan of that, but that's nothing I control. Oh, here's a tree across the path. There's been trees across here before. They're usually gone by the next time I come. Looks like this one fell. We have been out here and a tree fell on somebody's tent at campsite number 2. They were not in it, but we heard it fall. It was during the day. People were surprised that it fell, but glad that nobody was hurt. But here's the outhouse. See, not too far of a trip. And there it is right up here. So it's about, 45 seconds or so to get to the outhouse. So let's look, make sure there's nobody here. No. All right, not too bad. There's some soap and a little bit of toilet paper and a little solar light up in there. I'm not sure if the solar part's working. It looks like it might be missing. But yeah, that's the outhouse for campsite 1 and 2 are that way. And number 3 is there. And if you go down that path, there's a cove with a whole bunch of campsites. Tent site 1, 2, and 3 are the 3 that are basically the most secluded from the other ones. And I think they're a little bit newer when they added on to the campground a couple years ago. And as we finish up, what is your fart? Part.
Please add that at the end. My favorite part of the boating campground is probably we have a rock right next to it, and me and my family like calling it Mermaid Rock, but we like jumping off of it. And we also have like two little beaches right next to the campground, and the beaches are my favorite part probably.
How's the boat ride over?
It's long, but it's definitely worth it, and it's fun to go. Goodbye!